Here's the big question.
How are agents like us,
who didn't get an opportunity to invest in a franchise early,
who are spending time and money to sell homes,
building someone else's saleable asset?
How do we grow a business but still build wealth?
Have an exit strategy,
and get a piece of the pie that's not dependent
on us working more hours and every weekend?
That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer.
My name is Jay Kinder.
My name is Al Stasik.
And I'm Michael Reese. We are your hosts, and welcome to the One Big Fire Podcast.
Welcome to the One Big Fire Podcast. This is our top 200 influencers interviews, and I've got a treat for you guys here today. We got Dan Beer, the beer home selling team, or the beer home team, right? Is that correct?
You got it, man. Beer home team.
And you guys have been killing it. So I would like to talk. I mean, this is really strictly kind of a conversation around what we're doing to grow our groups within EXP and agent attraction and the revenue share opportunity at EXP. But I think it's worth talking about your numbers because I mean you've grown your real estate team bigger since you've been at EXP. And how long have you been here now, Dan?
I've been here for right at 3 years, but last month was our 3-year anniversary. So 3 years. When I came over, I just come off of a year where we went from 151 to 161 million in production at the previous company. And I realize those are big numbers, but the growth, if you think about 151 to 161 was basically plateaued.
Right.
First year here, we went to 215 million. And this past year, we closed $336 million worth of real estate.
That's unbelievable.
And it's been a lot of freaking fun, man. It's been very cool. Very, very cool. But it's not that surprising if you look at, who we spend our days surrounded with day in, day out basis.
Right. That's been the secret to my success all along is the people that I got to collaborate with. Now I paid a lot of money for that, to go to masterminds and be a part of coaching groups and attend events and things of that nature. But when you get a lot of high-powered individuals together, all working together, things it's kind of like, I used to call it the shortcut to success. Like that's really what it is.
So all working together, you threw that in right there. Cause I was about to say that, because all I said was, hey, who I'm in the room with, but that's actually wrong. It's not true. It's you added the piece, right? Like working together, because the reality is the room that I used to spend my time in. Look, I was in Gary Keller's top 100 group. There was some of the best, smartest operators in the country in that group. Really, really wonderful people.
Right.
There's absolutely one more ingredient then, right? It's not, you need amazing people.
Right. And
then you need the right incentive structure, the right working together. Well, what makes them work together? And this, for me, this thing that a lot of people talk about, and they run around talking about revenue share, and look at my screenshot and look how much money. I call them the knuckleheads. All right. I just think it's I call them that, yet that stuff is so significant. But the reason I call them that is because they're not really describing the reason it matters. The reason it matters is today, you could talk to 100 agents today, and so can I. Maybe one of us talk to someone that's interested in recruiting an agent. Like no one's looking to change careers and become a recruiter. What they are looking for, you and I are going to, out of the 100 agents, 99 of them are looking to figure out how to go from 50 sales to 100, from 200 to 300, from 0 to 36, right?
Yep.
And it's that revenue share piece, which becomes the reason why I get to now have everything you've ever built, and you don't have to swipe my credit card like you used to when you ran NAEA.
100%.
It's the reason why you can have, they can have whatever I've built, and I don't swipe their credit card like when I used to bill $2,000 a month for coaching.
Right.
It's the reason why that they get access to everything we've done, man. I think that's the product. The product we are selling is access and alignment, and that's what's missing when people talk about in a room with a group of people.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful thing when you have, financial alignment. It's, one of the things that Charlie Munger always talks about is misalignment and compensation is one of the most mismanaged factors in any business. And when you get it right, the behavior changes, right? Yeah. And so the behavior at EXP is abundance, help, support, add value. And that's a huge difference. It isn't the same in any other brokerage because there isn't that financial alignment piece from the top people in the company with all the other agents, right?
Well, people say like, well, no, you should just help people and collaborate. And I called this person, I was able to pick their brain for 20 minutes, right? Like, which is how most people live, like the pick their brain strategy.
Right.
It's like, I'm sorry, there's no way to convince me that incentive and that doesn't matter, that financial sense doesn't matter. Because if it didn't, you wouldn't be worried about the splits on your team. You wouldn't be worried about how you pay your admin and if you should bonus them and why or why not. You would never call and ask us the question, hey, what should I do with the ISA compensation when they close?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
You wouldn't be asking these questions if financial incentive did not matter. So it matters. It takes the conversation from, hey, I'm Mr. Nice Guy, and here's 20 minutes, and hey, man, and really like good, nice people I will download for you over 20 minutes. You ever sorted out an entire system in 20 minutes, or were you left with 50 additional questions that had to be answered afterwards?
Right.
But agents have to go answer them on their own.
Right. No question. So let's shift gears to the opportunity side of this. What you've built at EXP has been phenomenal. What are your numbers currently? Like, how many agents have you attracted to the company over that last 3 years, and what has that turned into in terms of the total group size?
Yeah, so by having this production focused environment that we've built, dude, we have, I'm looking at it now. I've brought 68 people have at some point in their application process said, hey, Dan's my sponsor. And these are the active people in the company working right now. And those 68 have introduced people and brought people and invited someone to a mastermind, and invited someone to our Monday Zoom, invited someone to our event, whatever it might be. And now the group is 3,458 people. Right.
That's insane. But it's what we see literally across the board. We're talking about maybe 2, maybe 3 people a month that you've introduced to the company, and they named you a sponsor, and that turned into, in a 3-year period, over what was it, 30? What do you say, 38?
3,458.
30. Okay, yeah. Dang, it's just since March 1st, that's gone up like 200. So that's pretty good. Those are incredible numbers. So let's talk about what do you think? In the beginning, what was it that you did to get momentum?
So it's a good question, man. Honestly, in the beginning, I was making mistakes, right? For the most part.
That was my next question.
So like the biggest mistake I made in the beginning is I forgot why I did not come for the 2 years that I ignored it.
Right.
And the reason I didn't come for the 2 years that I ignored it is because, where's my phone? People kept doing this to me. Hey, look at my screenshot. Right. And I'm just thinking like, dude, that's freaking cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, your screenshot's really great. No, I don't have that much passive income. Like, you have more than I do. Yeah. Having said that, you're talking about me shifting my business. You haven't told me one damn thing about how I'm going to improve my business. You're just showing me your screenshots. So no, thank you. Well, the biggest mistake I made was I came in, you get so excited. Now, granted, I was connected to the production side, because the reason I came in is, and maybe you're going to go there later, so I don't have to ruin the whole thing now, but Curtis Johnson comes over. He's a person who I really respected as a business person. And then immediately I'm on the phone with you, and I recognize that you were the number 2 Coldwell Banker agent in the world. And and we're immediately on the phone with Kyle Whistle, and he's the only person that Real Trends has ever recognized in San Diego's number 1 in sides and volume in the same year. And then we're immediately on the phone with Mark Z. The guy did 700 something transactions this year, right? That year, maybe he did like 400 or whatever. This was 3 years ago. So I'm there immediately. I'm like, oh shit, like this screenshot thing people are sharing with me. Now I get why it matters. It's going to make these badasses download. I get now everything they've ever built. I get access to everything in their business. My business will grow. And shit, if I think that's attractive, maybe other people will think that's attractive if we invite them to learn and produce with us. Cool. So I get connected to that. But then as soon as I come in, I become one of the like screenshot guys,
right.
You know? And so Chet Black actually is like, Dan, knock that shit off. Like, remember why you're doing you're doing the thing that made you not come.
Right.
Just go back to value, go back to helping people, go back to helping people go from 36 deals to 60 or whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, and the rest will follow. And so then I made that change.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's what you would do differently. And then as far, I mean, you gained momentum. What did you do in the beginning? You guys did, I mean, if you go back and think about it, like you guys were very creative in the way you did your announcement.
Right.
It creates a lot of inbound, right? So I think it's worth talking about. I mean, I don't know how many people have done as good a job as you guys did with the announcement.
What we did, and I would definitely do this again. Well, actually, that'd be an interesting conversation, right? Like it's like there is a different time, a different level of awareness. So
right.
What we did then was the first thing I did, I mentioned, I called you, I called Whistle, I called Mark. Mark said maybe. So then he came a few months later. Whistle said, we set up a lunch immediately. He and I were both in. And what we did is we invited. Well, first off, this is the most important thing if you're even thinking about this. It's amazing how many people I'll talk to and like, well, I got like my team members, my 2 people, my 6 listings. I got to figure that out because my sellers. And sometimes, Jay, people will say like, let me close these deals first. I'm like, wait,
I've heard that. Yeah.
Your business plan is to have 0 business before you like hopefully that never comes. So anyway, even though I had 40 something listings and 40 something escrows going and, all the team members and all the stuff, Kyle and I looked at the calendar, and the number one most important thing we did was we said, there's the day. Boom. It was 2 weeks later.
Right.
By setting the day, everything else falls into place. So now it was just a matter of, all right, well, let's get our signs together, our business cards, and, let's just do the things that have to happen. And we spent those 2 weeks, we invited the heaviest producers that we could possibly think of across San Diego County. We bought out a restaurant on a Tuesday night, I remember it was. And we bought out like their special banquet room or whatever it is, a steakhouse. And we just made a call that sounded something like this. Hey, Jay, what's going on, man? Good. It's Dan Beer. Hey, listen, Kyle Whistle and I were working on something together. And we are going to be having dinner at Seasons 52 on Tuesday at this time. And we just thought, we're going to have we're going to have literally San Diego's heaviest producers are going to be there. The room obviously needs you there. So here's the invite, right? What's it about? It's out of respect for everybody in the group. We'll share it then, but put it this way, if you want to be at dinner with then come. So anyway, we threw this $2 billion worth of producers at the dinner. We also called Inman. They ran a story on it the next morning. We had dinner with all these guys. We revealed it in the morning. We went public, and anyway, it was fun.
It was great. It was really great. So it's a great strategy, and it's funny because I think a lot of people miss this, but like it's just like you do a lot of marketing, and when you get inbound listing calls, right? Like that's like a shift in the business. That's like the greatest feeling ever, right? When people start calling you to hey, I need you to come list my house. Come list my house. And it's the same thing when you do the announcement. There's people that, no matter whether you're a big agent or a small agent, there's people that know who you are, and there's people that have been looking at EXP and not listening to everybody else. But when they see you join, they want to know, oh my God, I can't believe you joined. And that it creates this excitement, even though that was a different time. I think that's a valid point you're making. Like the awareness around EXP was a lot different 3 years ago than it is today. But again, the spin is this isn't just joining EXP. This is joining a group of people that can change your life, no matter where you're at in your business. Like there's, this is how you get sucked up to the top, of the room. If when you're in the room with people like that, and so being partners with us is not a small thing. It's not just the same as joining the company, and so I think that's an important thing. So are the results of that? Did it work locally? Did it get some traction? I know it made some noise, but we had. Here's the thing, right? Like Mary joined right away, right? Like she was right there with you guys.
Mary joined right away. Kurt Wanabo, who's a $100 million producer, he joined very shortly after. There's 2 or so others from this group. But there's a 50-person dinner, so 3 or 4 people joined. People are like, well, is that successful? Is that not successful? You have to understand that 2 or 3 or 4 people multiplied against 2 or 3 or 4 people against 2 or 3 or 4 people in a system that is not geographically restricted, right? That's nationwide and actually now continent-wide, right? Like multi-continent. If it's compound interest, right? It's literally 68 people that turn into 3,400 and whatever I said earlier, right? It's an incredibly meaningful number. If you fast forward to today, actually, one of the reasons we almost did not come is we look at our market and we're like, oh shit, hold on. There's like 30-ish people that like may or may not have ever sold homes, right? I mean, like, this is 3 years ago, so
right.
I'm insulting anybody.
That was the number one objection, by the way, 3 years ago when I joined. Was I looked at the MLS and there's literally nobody at EXP. That was not the case anymore. That people don't say that. I haven't heard that in a long time, but that you're right. That was the objection back then. Yeah, and it's a penny stock, of course, as well, right?
Yeah, and I was like, damn, maybe it's not a San Diego thing. And here's the thing: it's like that's true everywhere until it's not. So for people, I just, thank goodness, something came to mind. I'm like, wait a second, is it just not a San Diego thing? Like, is this something I hear about in Gary's private mastermind and they like are talking about it and worried about it? Is this something that I see producers across the country and other markets coming? Is this just not going to be a San Diego thing? Or does everybody see these same folks that aren't really, I mean, I'm not talking about big producers. I'm talking about like, don't know where to find their license.
Right.
At the time, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they just get turned off and they go, oh, never mind. I guess it's not a San Diego thing. Well, hold on. What if I make it a San Diego thing? So fast forward 2 years, we win San Diego Association of Realtors Brokerage of the Year, flat out.
Right on. That's like, awesome.
It's crazy. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And so let's shift gears a little bit to, your group size you have now is huge. And so, let's go this over the time that you were over that first year, 2 years, what were the things that you were doing? Because you brought in a lot of influencers. You obviously have a lot of influence. Not everybody has that, but one of the strategies that you employed that I feel like works for anybody is getting people to key events, right? And so, having those dinners and things of that nature, or to what degree did that play a role in attracting people from outside of San Diego? Because it's easy to think local and it's hard to kind of think international when you've never really you expanded the mind to think about it, and then at a certain point, those conversations start happening from people in other states, and then all of a sudden, you got groups growing all over the place. How did that play out for you?
I'm glad you're asking that, because I lose awareness sometimes that if I tell that San Diego story, then people might interpret like, oh, this is about my city. No.
Right.
Like, I don't even think about my city.
Right.
Literally, I spend zero time thinking about San Diego. My conversations with the agents we're helping, masterminding with, getting together with, are literally all over the country, 40-something states, Canada and Mexico. It's got nothing to do with San Diego. But the events, yeah, man, they're a major thing. Like, you've hosted some events. I've had guests there from Louisiana. I've had guests there from Florida. I've had guests there from California, sure. But it's the real thing is if you look at so I brought 68. Where the hell did everybody else come from? Right. Well, if I brought 68, even if I name my influencers, they brought like somewhere between, let's call it 40 and 70. Okay. Right. So yeah, there are like 3,000 people come from.
Right.
Actually, the smart ones out there, I don't care what your production level, none of that matters. If you know how to just simply make a friend like, I'm a tool for you. Jay's a tool for you. Michael and Al and Kyle and Mary and Mark Z, Curtis Johns, all these people, Buddy Blake, Jason Brandon, like, these are your tools now. Yeah. So if you know how to just say, hey, like, oh, you're trying to do that?
I know a guy. I know a gal, right?
I know a guy that, like, you want to do expireds or farming or hire or this or that, and then Matt can introduce you to this guy who can help you with that. Or actually, I'm about to go to an event where all these people will be there. Why don't you come and be with them? Right. And so the grand majority of those 3,400 and let me look again, 3,458 people are sponsored by people who, if I gave you their name, you don't know who they are.
Right.
So they know how to make our influence their own.
Right. Yep. That's a key point. And that is, in essence, the principle behind that is duplicatable. It's not easy. Not everybody can have a conversation with someone and get them interested in, but if you can get them to an event where there's a lot of influencers, those influencers are the tools that you get to use to, or get them on a call. That is how I've seen, tremendous growth from a lot of different angles since we've been here. And that is the number one key is leverage. It's leveraging your group. You have people that have a financial incentive to help you grow this. So if you're crazy not to introduce people to, because and more importantly, we genuinely like helping people. Like that's for us. That's what we do. We talk shop anyway. We might as well be helping everybody, right?
Dude, it's so the events are so key, and here's the beauty of them, right? Like when I invited people to the Key West event you hosted.
Right.
Well, they didn't ever need to join EXP. If they never joined EXP, they were still going to say, Dan, thank you for the invite, man. That was freaking great.
Right.
Because the event wasn't like, here's EXP 101 and here's EXP 102. That wasn't the event.
No.
The event was they walked out as more badass business people for their business, period. Right now, they understand like, hey, this was your invite for this one. Like, if you want to like make this a regular thing, you got to be a part of the group. They get that, right? The beauty is because our events are that way. Because the event that I'm organizing right now in Mexico, right south of San Diego, hour and a half south, Mexican wine country called Valuedriven. It's like the secret of Mexico. No, it's awesome. Anyway, that event or the ones we've hosted in the past or the Kentucky Derby event, right? Which, by the way, we're all stupid fun. But aside from that, because they're going to be solid content, we call it power content, right? You gave me that phrase. I can stare anybody in the eye, brand new agent or $200 million producer, and I could say, come to this thing, it's going to be great. And then they're going to say thank you after the event, whether they join us or not, because it wasn't about joining us.
Right.
But people that enjoy those events tend to join us.
Right. I eat the word attract, right?
Yeah.
It really does. It focuses around adding value. Speaking of adding value, so what are you doing? Obviously we have, as part of the Honey Badger group, getting people plugged in. Is there anything specific that you're doing or having someone do on the onboarding process to make sure they're getting plugged into? There's so much value. There's so much with EXP. You get this tremendous value, learning all those systems and not trying to overwhelm people and get their business over smoothly. But like, how are you getting them plugged into the Fast Forward movement and the Honey Badger group and all the things that we all have going on?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's one of these things that honestly, sometimes we do a great job of, and sometimes we need to do a better job of.
Yeah, sure.
So kind of the way I see this now, we were talking about it today. We had a call with the president of growth, right? Today with Dave Kennord, and I see, and this is why like it is so important that you understand there's the platform and then there's who you're going to party with on the platform, right? Some people there's multiple companies with the same CRM. Some of them built it out amazing. Some of them built it out okay, and anything in between.
Right.
So it's what I envision, Jay, is I'm hiring a full-time, like I mentioned this morning, I'm hiring a full-time basically group administrator to do those sorts of things that like, hey, okay, great, you're on. Here's what we do, by the way, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, great. Do you have Work Chat downloaded? Do you have Workplace downloaded?
Right.
Take something like the World. People talk about EXP World like it's this great thing because we're a virtual brokerage. I'm thinking that's not what's great. Like not having offices is actually something we don't have. That's not what's great. What's great about it is the speed of access to the help I need.
Yep.
I mean, I'll challenge anybody at any traditional.
Spot on.
Dude, let's go. Anybody at any traditional brokerage, let's go right now. Who could get to their broker faster, get a question answered? I'm going to smoke. I'm like 3 clicks away, done.
Yep.
Like you won't even be out of your chair by the time. Like it's that's what those things are great for. But there's agents that downloaded it before, right? And then know how to log. So we honestly, this is where you and I are in charge of just continuing to add value. And this is why it's very important for people to understand the importance of the people around you is going to matter a whole lot.
Right. No question. And anything. So talk about kind of the systems, because you got some systems in place to add value, calls that y'all do on a regular. What are some of the things that people get access to that you guys provide when they partner with you?
Well, so first of all, my favorite thing is what we do on every Monday. Every single Monday, we do a Zoom mastermind at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 Eastern. And it's a full hour of basically, if you were to join us as a guest on any of these, and Jay, you should pop in there someday, man. Curtis,
yeah, happy to.
Yeah, the group would be like, whoa.
Hey, what's up?
So anyway, the reason if you're watching this, you're like, wait, why isn't Jay there? Jay's systematized all kinds of stuff that we all get to participate on. And then sometimes when you kind of grow a large group, right, within his group, then you want to add more value. So we've added this Monday thing, and Kyle Whistle and I started that. And so anyway, you pop in there, you'll see 20 plus $100 million producing agents.
Right.
Okay. And then what you'll see though is like another 100 or so of the agents in the group that are there live asking a question. Hey, I've got this challenge. I've got this one. And they're literally getting coaching and wisdom and experience from all of these people that are not sharing because they're getting paid to be there, because they're swiping credit cards. They're not sharing because it's like the nice thing to do. It's like they need the person to overcome the obstacle, because when they do, it literally reflects your own growth. That's the one brilliant thing created, right? Like that's right there. So we do that every Monday. It's always production focused. And then we do your thing on Tuesdays. We do our thing that we develop together, Expert Mentors Live, on Wednesdays.
Yep.
Expert Mentors Live is awesome. If you guys don't know about that, that's Jay and I, that was like one of the first conversations we ever had. Yep. We developed this thing where there's $1 million GCI agent in the company, in the group, excuse me, who goes deep on a narrow part of their business, meaning like everything you need to know on their expired system or their pre-listing package or their, whatever it might be, something deep and narrow, so that we just get all the detail, not just the like 10,000 foot view stuff. And that happens every Wednesday. So those are the things that we've added in addition to just making ourselves available, right?
When you really think about it, there's been like 120 of those expert mentors or something like that since we've started. Maybe not quite that many, somewhere right in that range. But and those are all archived. Anybody can watch all of them. And it's like literally the top agents in the country, and they're all within our group. It's pretty unbelievable how much. Like if you just, it's such an easy decision. Like if you truly want to grow your business, you'd be crazy not to be involved, right? Like it just doesn't make sense to me why you would stay on an island and try to figure it out yourself. Ego, I guess, would be the only good description, probably.
Well, I don't know if you mind doing this or if I'm taking you off course, but
no,
because I agree. Like I'm finding myself recently being like, are you kidding? Like. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, if you freaking hang out with people that have not just, because here's the thing. All right, listen, let me slow down. Most agents can see one move in front of them. Okay. Think about chess, the move that they're about to make. That's what they can see.
Right.
Now, your agent that's like, hey, no, I've done really well. I'm a 10 million, a 15 million, a 20 million, a 30. They might be able to see the move in front of them and beyond. Even someone like myself, been able to do 336 million last year. You, number 2 Coldwell Banker agent in the world, you might have been a little bit better, but you weren't grandmaster level on your own. On your own, you can see maybe the step in front of you and sort of like a grayish sense of the second move beyond, not just the one in front of you, the one beyond that. You could see that one. You could see that one. You were good at that. And then 2 steps ahead, you had a sense. Okay.
Right.
But that's all we are on our own. The group turns us from good chess players to grandmaster level chess players, because the group is our ability to see, like Bobby Fischer style, right? Like 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead.
Right.
I could never see alone. I just couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. We can't do it.
No, it's brilliant. So the mastermind, when you're in a mastermind and somebody that's at the level that you're trying to get to is explaining their biggest problem, that is seeing around the corner. That is truly seeing around the corner and seeing the next move and the next move and the next problem that you're going to encounter that you're going to have to solve. But that doesn't happen without the level of collaboration that we have.
That's what the entire group is all about for me. So having said that, it's so clear to me. Sometimes I'm like, how do you not, so I guess what I was going to say when I was going to take you off course is if you want to deconstruct for a minute, we're saying like it's an easy decision, it's a whatever, no brainer. But at the end of the day, there are like good, smart people that have a block, a hesitation, a block, something holds them back. Like what do you think those things really are?
I would say number one, I believe it's the education and information. Like this is a complex business model to unpack, and it's kind of hard to see the value unless you're involved in it. And so it takes a little bit of time, and it takes a little bit of investment of their time into consumption before they figure out, okay, I get it, right? Like there's a moment I think where most people go, oh, that's why everybody's coming over here. This is the reason. And so like, I think that, they have to be open-minded enough or have a problem or seek opportunity at the same passion that we all do, or have a problem that they need to solve in order to open the gate of the mind and actually look. I think that's the number one thing. And then I think people just get into their own heads. Either they get confused or they get overwhelmed because they're overwhelmed in their business, right? Like especially the most successful agents that are super busy, and then deals are falling apart, and they were looking at it, but then they're just like, nah, I got to keep doing my thing here, and then they just push it off to the side, and then months go by, they don't answer, they don't reply to anybody, and I think those are some of the reasons. I don't know, what is your take on that?
That made a lot of sense to me, honestly. It's I think you're at least on the really right track with most of that. If all of that, I don't know. I think that you hit most of that, man. Honestly, the one that resonated most with me was, there's people who are in a spot where life is good,
right?
And they're not with us, and life is good. It's not like we pretend it's the only way for life to be good, right? So, and then that just prevents the willingness to have an open conversation. Having said that, it's like, if you think about the way we're even talking, sometimes it sounds like to really look at it, to have like that aha moment, to like, what are we even talking about? We're talking about you sell homes, keep selling homes. We're talking about your brand is Beer Home Team, keep Beer Home Team. We're talking about your brand colors yellow, keep yellow. We're talking about just like not a mystical idea that if there's people that have been through the business obstacles and issues and have figured out the opportunity, because too much opportunity can be an obstacle, right? If you have what Mike calls priority confusion, I love that term. Yeah. And that becomes an obstacle. So if you have people that will do that in like a fiduciary kind of capacity, almost not a legal fiduciary, but if they care about their own financial life, then you're going to get help at a deeper level. It's hard to see why someone doesn't see it. So I'm just trying to get myself back in those old shoes.
Right. Maybe it's a little bit of the how people evaluate, a situation, right? So like, it's what's the upside? Let's look at what's the upside here. What's the downside? And can you live with the downside, right? Like, what's the worst case scenario is that the stock isn't worth anything. You never bring an agent over to EXP. Worst case scenario, you're saving money, most likely, not always, but most likely saving money from where you're coming. So like, to me, like if you take a logical and non-emotional approach to looking at the opportunity, I mean, worst case scenario, I'm going to have some good business partners to bounce ideas off of, and surely that's going to result in helping me grow my business. And I think it's a lot of ego, right? I had ego. Shoot, are you kidding me? Like, ego kept me from doing it for a year. It wasn't until I was able to, okay, let me just push the ego aside here. I know what you're saying, ego. Let me put you over here, and let me just say, what if, right? What if this was all true? What if all this was going to be the answer? Then what, right? And as you start to dig and dig and dig and dig, and you really start to really try to find the poke holes in it. And as you look under every rock, you're like, aha, I found you. The gotcha. Well, there's no gotcha there. All right. Well, it's got to be here. It's got to be here. It's gotcha somewhere. There's a gotcha. I knew it. Nope, not a gotcha there. And so, like, as you continue to check those things off the list, that this is a real opportunity with real business partners that have a ton of value and a business model that's nothing like what we've seen in real estate ever. There's really that's when people start to stop saying, well, what about my office, or what about this, or I've got these deals to close, right? They actually understand the opportunity. But that takes time, and it takes and I think it starts with, I had a lady call me, she got on a Zoom call, this is yesterday, and she came right at me. She said, I want you to tell me why I should move to EXP. That's how she started the conversation. I was like, oh, okay. She did 140 transactions last year, been doing it for years in a very competitive market. And so I said, I would absolutely love to tell you all the reasons why I joined, and it's great. I said, why don't you, if you don't mind, guys, tell me a little bit about your business, right? And so once I started unpacking the business and what it was she's doing, and then all of a sudden I saw it in her body language. The frustration was being in production, and heavily in production, and feeling like you have to be in production for, like, there's no way out. I've lost agents. Now my production's down. She had done 200 deals at one point. It was down a little bit. And so, like that, but we've all been through that. It's like, yep. The rebuild process, been through it. You lose some of your best talent. How do you create, you rebuild it, telling yourself it's all culture. It was just culture. I got a better culture. But you got to create opportunity for folks, or at some point they're going to leave you. And this business model solves a really big challenge I feel like most independents and teams have, which is attracting and retention of talent. And so, but once she finally told me what her biggest problem was, now I can start to align the business model for how we can help her. And it was like, there's two things I wanted to show her. I said, let me show you the opportunity side of the business. You may not be interested at all. I want to show it to you because I don't think you would have reached out to me if you hadn't been somewhat interested in that. And then if that's not of interest to you, then we'll also talk about how I'm going to help you go from where you're at in your business to where you want to go and get you out of production. Because I actually had done that in my own business, so I felt like I could help her with that. And so it was interesting, but then all of a sudden the gate of mind is wide open. They know that I'm genuinely interested in helping them, even more so than trying to bring them over to EXP. I just want to help them with the problem that they currently have. And I felt like most cases, if not all cases, that EXP is a better platform, and you're better off being at EXP than you are being anywhere, if you're trying to solve problems like that.
Yes, and the reason why I think that's true. I think that reason that's true, Jay, is because, like, I hope people don't hear this like, oh, because EXP will broker my deal better. No, the brokering of the deal is a commodity. Okay, that's all it is. It is just the clearinghouse for the deal. It's nothing more, nothing less. It'll broker it just as well as any other place. No better, no worse. But this company has chosen to take half of its corporate revenues and distribute them back to the people that have helped grow the company. So all of a sudden, when this agent is interested in working themselves out of production so that they could serve their business, their team, and their clients better, so that they could provide more value to their team members and all the things that she's probably interested in doing. You've done it. I've done it. Right? Bush has done it. Curtis has done it.
Yep.
And they're going to find themselves in an environment of all kinds of people that have done what they want to do. So that's where it comes back to, like, this seems simple, yet there's things in the way, I guess.
Right. So Dan, tell me this. So, I mean, you're running a major business, and you've got this other business on the side that's a new revenue stream. How has your day changed, and how do you manage doing both. I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with is how they manage their business and the revenue share side of things together, especially as it starts to become more significant.
Yeah. So, well, I think everybody needs to serve one thing first, which is like, there's nothing sexy about, oh, I came to EXP, I lost track of my production, like that went to hell. And then, I'm spending all my time trying to talk to agents. Like, you'll never catch me advising anybody to do anything remotely like that.
Right.
So for me, when I came over, I was out of the day-to-day production, right? I mean, I'm in production in terms of that I'm in my business. I'm at my executive meeting on Tuesday morning. I'm in my marketing meeting on Monday. I'm in my quarterly offsite doing strategy for Q2. I'm in the business,
right.
But I'm just in a kind of unique spot in my life where I'm in it. I'm truly in it, but I'm not at the kitchen table and I'm not in the car. So all of my day is structured around helping my partners. My partners could be on the beer home team in San Diego, or my partners could be in Indiana, or they could be in New York, or they could be in Oregon, or wherever else, because there are partners that have chosen to lock arms with us through this model. So that's where I spend my time. But I think for people that are wondering, how do I spend my time, is number one, I'd say, like, you don't have to think about anything other than just plugging into the learning environment that we've built. We've built the deepest learning environment that exists in the industry. I'll hold that up to anybody. Come bring what you got, and let's figure out like what's what and who's who. You're not going to find deeper. So come plug into it, and let's figure out what your goals are. What do you want it to look like? I can't decide that for you. Like, every answer is valid as long as it's actually what you want. You just don't want to arrive at your future by accident.
Right.
So let's figure out where you want to go. Let's build a solid foundation around that, and then leverage the group.
Yep.
Like, there's a tremendous amount of headway you can make, and just simply, maybe come to the Monday Mastermind, the Zoom call. Come to that because you actually want to improve your own business, and be kind enough to invite somebody.
Right.
Come to the Mastermind we're going to host, the in-person, to just simply improve your own business. Be kind enough to invite somebody.
Right.
If you just did that, you're going to be great. And then, and you want to just take things in the right order. Like, not everybody gets to spend the same amount of times on the same things because they haven't gone, like, you have to go through some steps that I might have gone through years ago and just making my actual business solid. But that's just the kind of way I think about it, Jay. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, absolutely. I think my whole philosophy, and this is something I got from Jay Abraham and mentoring with him, because he just poured into us and added value, and it was so tremendously helpful for me. But it's in all business, in any business, like in a real estate business, like, just focus on adding value. Like, if you want your lender to participate in your lead gen, why don't you focus on making sure you're giving them as many deals as you possibly can, right? Like, you don't need 3 lenders paying. You need one that you can consistently funnel business to, right? And like, make sure their lives are better by having been a part of your business, right? Like, add value to people's lives. If you focus on doing that, you can't fail. You're only going to come out, and you're only going to come out on the positive, even though that's not the goal. You should be just doing it to do it. That's just been my philosophy, and inviting people to help them, trying to help people solve their problems without asking for, some kind of commitment or a credit card, for instance, is just a very fulfilled way of living. Right. So I think there's a lot of that we experience as well.
And look, coming in, and then it's like, so I've been talking about this recently, Jen. I don't know if you've seen me do it or not, but it's, people will say, like, hey, just start giving and giving. Like, give to receive. Well, give to receive is actually very scarcity based.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give more than what you have, right? You're talking about a finite resource. So you want to make a big impact, receive. Come in and just plug in. Come and just fill your, like, receive, because you have an infinite capacity to receive. And if you receive as much as you possibly can, and make yourself as strong as you can possibly be, you can take all this that you're receiving in an infinite capacity and then pass it through yourself to others. And so now that becomes truly abundant.
Yep.
Give to receive is scarcity based, even though people
Right.
think it's not. Receive to give is where you start. And that's where you need to be.
Love it. That's great. Awesome, man. This has been a great conversation. Anything else that you would say to those that are either maybe thinking of joining, or maybe they're one of the agents in our groups, in the Honey Badger group, or in your group, the Fast Forward Movement? Anything that you would say, or what would you say the biggest mistake that agents are making? I forgot to ask that question. That's one of my favorites. What do you think the biggest mistake that agents are making when it comes to agent attraction?
The biggest mistake in agent attraction is it's just like anything else, right? So in anything that's marketing focused, okay, when you're putting a message out to market, and it's interesting just even having the conversation with you. I find myself saying little phrases I've picked up, and 2 or 3 or 4 of them that I've used have come from you over years. Sometimes when we knew each other, sometimes when you were swiping my credit card.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, right, it's that message to market, Matt. Like it's what's that message that you're putting out there, but also money's going to flow to different, right? You have to be different. Mm-hmm. So the biggest mistake, Jay, is I've been waging a war against them, and I don't mind doing it, and I don't mind people getting mad at me because I think the company loves me doing it because it only helps the company. The knuckleheads, the come get sign up at EXP and like you magically don't sell homes and you retire rich. Like if you sound like that, like when everything you say is like X this, like EX, like it's there's a lot of cheesy knuckle.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So get away from it. It doesn't help. It doesn't help you attract anybody. It's repellent, but I love it. Actually keep doing it, because as soon as they hear me talking different, as soon as they hear me talking speaking the language of production versus the language of come get rich quick and blah, 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 like no one of much value is believing that message as they should. Okay. You want to come with us? Can those things happen for you? Sure. You're going to work your ass off and you're going to have to do it consistently in a disciplined way over time.
Right.
Having said that, apply consistent disciplined work over time to the old franchise models, name I hate naming companies, but just name the company, apply disciplined, consistent effort over time and apply it here. Like, yeah, the end of the tunnel looks different, but it's going to be work, right? It's gonna be work. So anyway, I know we've kind of been talking a lot to people not at EXP. Right now, we're just talking to our fellow shareholders. Don't be a cheese ball. Don't be one of the knuckleheads. No one out there's looking to like if you attract people on the promise of, hey, you come over and you're like rich next month. What happens if they're not?
Right.
Then they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
You know what we can control? We can control that Monday's mastermind is going to fucking kick ass. We can control that Tuesday with Jay is going to be freaking fire. We can control that Wednesday's Expert Mentors Live is going to add value to people in their business. We can control these things. We can control that any of these in-person events are going to be freaking awesome. Whether people join us or not, they're going to love having been there and they're going to say thank you. Those things we can control.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Jay, the answer, that's a long answer to there's the voice of the many who just don't know what to say. And then there's if you can pull away from that and speak a much greater truth, a more accurate truth, and also one that resonates with far more people, move away from being a knucklehead and become an actual value-driven business person, you're going to kill it.
Promise made, promise kept is such a simple concept, but you don't want to set expectations and then leave people falling short. And you don't have any control over that. What you're saying is just 100% spot on. What we have control over is, listen, if you plug in, you're going to get gold. There's no question. Now you got to still go do the work either way. But if you plug in, you're going to have the best of the best information you have to possibly go grow your business. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Good, man.
Man, great stuff, man. Dude, lots of nuggets here, man. Lots of good stuff for everybody. I appreciate the place you come from and helping people and the things that you've done here at EXP are amazing. And it's just a pleasure to be in business with you, my friend.
Cool. And just to be clear, because Jay said earlier, pleasure with you, brother. Jay said earlier, our Honey Badger group, your Fast Forward group, just to be clear, everyone in the group, the Fast Forward group, this thing that we, born after me, but the beauty is everyone in the group is in the Honey Badger group.
Right.
And so
it's just stacking the value. So much value.
It's a stack of value. That's it, brother. All right, man. I hope to see you soon. Are you going to be in Cabo?
Yeah, I'll be in Cabo. Absolutely. Looking forward to that trip.
I'll see you in in a month. A little more.
Yeah, you got it, man. All right. Appreciate it. Again, thanks. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you again next time.
See ya.
Later.